Hey, good morning, beautiful people. Hey, I hope everybody is doing well. Let's flip some of these lights on in here. All right. Hey, I missed you guys so much. Um, I'm not going to lie, you guys. I had a very uh, transformative weekend, a very transformative weekend, and was able to understand, feel, and experience a lot of truth and a lot of things about our current situation here. So it really is a great time to go over the book of Obadiah. And I will read it. It's very short. It's very short. It's maybe just like a page, not even a page. So I will read it in completion, but I did want to come to you guys first in truth and transparency and just tell you a little bit about myself. I was actually taken to a very dark place last night, and it was a place of pain that I never have really experienced before. Um, yeah, I'm filled with so much confidence. A lot of time, I have a very strong and boisterous soul and spirit. So, to be taken to this place of humility and mocking, if you will, which I feel, on a very light level from time to time. But this was just, amplified. It was amplified, and it was painful. And even the people that I trust and I love the most, um, were making it seem like you know there was a lot of blame on me. Right, there was a lot of blame, and I wasn't a good person and things like that. So it was a very hard place that I was, and I wanted to let you know that there was a moment where and as we reviewed in our surah, right, that I had posted, right, turn to Allah in your times of suffering and in your times of if you need refuge, if you need a safe place, right, go to Allah. He will be the one to deliver you, and He did. He absolutely did. um i i I had a moment where I was laying in bed and I was speaking to Him, and I was crying. I was crying. I was expressing to Him how I felt and how sorry I was for the actions that might have caused to just such a negative reaction in myself, right? um and I was really very sorrowful, really very sorrowful, and I really did want to give up. There was a point where I did just want to give up. I wanted to go home, if you know what I'm saying. I wanted to be done. I wanted to go home. I wanted to just have this all come to completion very soon, right? And I did have a choice. I did have a choice, and He came to me. He gestured to me with the light, right? I did have an angel come down and see me, and they reviewed my scroll, and I was very pleased. The scroll was passed to the right, and my deeds on the scale were very heavy. In terms of good deeds, they were very heavy. In terms of bad deeds, we all have them. They were on the lighter side. So I was actually very surprised and satisfied. I was told that, um, I have an option. I could go home. I tried, I tried to roll right in. He told me to come to the window, but I had a little bit of fear and a little bit of hesitation. He said, come to the window. They were gesturing and motioning me, come to the window, come to the window. But I was fearful. When that angel came, I was fearful. I didn't want to come up. I was naked. I was in bed. I was naked. He said, come to the window. Just come naked. Come to the window. But that part right there, that part got me, because so badly I didn't want to see, I didn't want him to see the angel, right? To see me exposed in my nakedness, right? I didn't want them to see me coming to them in a naked state. Does that make sense? But he said, come to the window, and I still came to the window. I hesitated quite significantly, and it was because I was scared for them to see me in a naked state. It was brought to my revelation now that it was not my time. Even if it was, even if I did agree to go, and even if I went with confidence and gumption back home, it would it would have to be modified in a way where I couldn't fully leave. Like I would have to have a part of myself here. And it's a little bit hard to explain. And I don't know how well you're going to receive this, or how fluidly you'll be able to receive this. But I would have to, part of me would have to stay. I would have to leave something behind in order for me to stay and still carry out my mission. It was brought to my attention that I do have a very important mission, something that really cannot be compromised. As much as I do have the choice, they very much gave me a choice, and I definitely could have just got up and left. I'll just say it like that. I could have just got up and left, like all hope is lost. The mission and God's promise to you would still have to be carried out in full and in completion. So instead of being cowardice, and instead of being scared, and instead of being timid, I am here with you today to go ahead and describe the next chapter, right? The next chapter. And we're almost done with the Old Testament. We're almost done. And I'm so sorry that I had so many points of weakness, like really like an unlimited amount of weakness that I've had to experience. And I'm sorry that has been brought to light. And I'm sorry that, you know, for the mistakes that I've made, that we've all felt pain, right? It's not just me feeling the pain, it's all of us together. We are all in this kind of place of suffering, right? But remember what I said about needing to release and having to release. That's exactly what we were called to do, and that's exactly what took place. We released a lot. I cried a lot more than ever before. It started out with a creative, happy cry, right? I was vocalizing. I was using my voice to create sound and to create music and to create a song that was true for me. I spent much of the weekend creating sounds and songs and music that was true to me, so I'm very proud of in that regard. I spent the weekend connecting with others and helping people seeing their inner light, and also sheltering and protecting people from maybe a little bit more of an impossibly dangerous situation, which I won't get into now. So it was a big weekend, and I did have a really good time learning and experiencing. So I couldn't say that it was all suffering, right? So I will leave you with this. Let's go ahead and just read Obadiah really quickly. Something that I wanted to mention, we will be talking about here the Edomites, okay? And I wanted to just preface, when we talk about the Edomites, like who exactly were the Edomites? Because they're very strict. This book of Obadiah is very, very strict against the Edomites. And I wanted to, I'm glad I didn't read this before, because I would have no context, but now it's a good time. So the Edomites, do you remember Jacob and Esau? Okay, the Edomites come from the line of Esau. So we have to take it back. And who was their father? Who is Jacob and Esau's father? That was Isaac, right? The son of Abraham and Sarah. So they had twins, Jacob and Esau. And it's funny, we have this conception of Esau being the bad one, right? The bad brother. He was big and hairy and strong, and Isaac loved Esau because he was so out in the wilderness and hunting and fishing. He was a very manly man. And then we have Jacob, who is a little bit more sensitive, and Isaac's wife loved Jacob. He was very, very sensitive. He is sensitive, and he's more of a mama's boy, if you know what I mean. He's a mama's boy. He loves being a homebody. He loves being a homebody, helping cooking and cleaning. And so people kind of think of Esau. And the funny thing is, in my head, I always thought it was Esau who was the trickster and who was trying to steal the blessing, right? He's trying to steal the blessing from Jacob, because Jacob, was the safe one. He was the protective one. So I always thought it was Esau who was the bad guy that was trying to steal. But do you know what's actually hilarious, and something that I did not come into revelation until recently? It was actually Jacob had tricked Esau, right, into taking his father Isaac's blessing. And he did that by, remember, placing the wool on his arms and having the wool of the sheep or the goat on his face to make him seem hairier. Because at that point, Isaac was blind. So Isaac is looking to see, what exactly is going on. And he feels the fur and he says, "Oh, okay. I see you, Esau. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you for bringing me soup." And so we think actually of Jacob in this trickster moment. Jacob was not as much of a trickster, though, because it was actually Esau in his hunger after getting back from a hunting or, an outside uh, extravaganza, right? A hunting trip, something of that sort. It was Esau who was actually so hungry, for some lentil soup that Isaac's wife and Jacob were cooking all day. It smelled so nice. And he was just so exhausted. After that hunting trip, he was so exhausted. And it was actually Esau who wanted to just go in the house and relax. He did not want to have to deal with his father. So instead of taking the soup and serving his father like Esau should have to receive the blessing, it was Jacob that went ahead and took the soup and served it to his father. Esau just is like, you know what? He actually said, "Go ahead. I'm just going to have this bowl of soup here. I'm going to go relax." And Jacob, go ahead and just have my blessing. It's fine. I'm tired, right? That was Esau's mindset. So it was not so much as Jacob. He did trick his father, right? He tricked his father into giving him his blessing, but it wasn't so much so that Jacob tricked Esau, right? He didn't do that. Esau willingly was exhausted and he gave it to Jacob. He's like, "Please carry out the line because you're the one that has the sense to go ahead and do so." He was just tired at the end of the day. So that is that. And we'll go ahead and read the book of it because we're going back into the story that we read between them. But um, that was the significant pair. And it actually did become quite a rivalry between Jacob and Esau. From that point on, they were two great nations, as we will learn. Edom became a huge nation that actually became pretty problematic um, later on. And because of that, we will go ahead and read this book here. But remember something that I just always want to preface with. We remember when the two tribes, right? Jacob's tribe, which are we aware here um, who Jacob, right, is? Jacob is Israel. Okay, Jacob has the 12 tribes of Israel, right? He has the 12 sons, Joseph being one of them. Excuse me, Joseph being one of them. And he has the 12 sons. So Jacob is this giant tribe of Israel, and then Esau is all of Edom, right? So we have to remember that moment just before we preface this, when Jacob and Esau are actually going to come meet for the first time in a while to go ahead and engage in a fight, right? And to start a battle. So they go ahead and do that, and their armies are lined up line by line, and the two brothers are standing there looking at each other. And instead of pursuing with the battle, they actually go up and give each other the most confident and most warm and most loving embrace that you could ever imagine. So I just want to make it very clear. I'm not acting, I swear. Despite everything that goes on between us, we are always family and we are always close to each other, and we can always, always, always reconcile and seek mercy and seek forgiveness and endure. We don't have to shun away. We can endure the pain for the promise of the love that is the love between us all and the love of family. we can all come together and celebrate the fact that we are all one and we are all family and we all have our counterparts and our souls and our unique selves that do create this lovely tapestry of life. And life is not to be taken for granted, it is not to be disdained, it is not to play with, especially now. Life is not a joke. It is not something to laugh at. Life is serious. Life is true. Life is real. Life is alive. It's not a game. Many people think that this life is a game. Many people think that, if you mess up, it's okay. You can be given another chance and another opportunity. And our God, being the most merciful, the most powerful God that there is true. It's true that we are given chance after chance after chance, time and time and time again. And I understand that many of us are tired at this point. Many of us. And I understand that it's difficult. I understand that it hurts. I understand that we could be nicer to each other and a little bit more soft and sensitive towards each other. We can have more compassion. We can have more gratitude for each other. We can treat people better. So I do understand that. I do understand this is the direction that we're heading. So I do greatly appreciate all the love that is there and all the love that is true and warm and comforting and peaceful. Okay. Sorry to scare you, but this was the reality of last night. It was a very troubling time. The last few nights, I would say, just kind of having to stay up in a certain energy and be able to really reflect on it and to really come to terms with how we deal with these energies moving forward. So, without further ado, I will be reading the book of Obadiah. This is Obadiah's vision, right? And he says, "This is what the sovereign Lord says about Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord. An envoy was sent to the nations to say, 'Rise, let us go against her for battle. See, I will make you small among the nations. You will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who live on the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights. You who say to yourself, who can bring me down to the ground? Though you soar like the eagle and make your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. If thieves came to you, if robbers in the night, oh, what a disaster awaits you. Would they not steal only as much as they wanted? If grape pickers came to you, would they not leave a few grapes? But how Esau will be ransacked, his hidden treasures pillaged. All your allies will force you to the border. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. In that day, declares the Lord, I will not destroy the wise men of Edom, those of understanding in the mountains of Esau. In that day, declares the Lord, will I not destroy the wise men of Edom, those of understanding in the mountains of Esau. Okay, but I do like the way that that was reworded. Your warriors, Teman, will be terrified, and everyone in Esau's mountains will be cut down in the slaughter. Because of the violence against your brother Jacob, you will be covered with shame. You will be destroyed forever. On that day you stood on the day you stood aloof while strangers carried off his wealth and foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem. You were like one of them. You should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune. Sorry, I lost my spot because I'm like still a bit triggered. I apologize. nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of their trouble. You should not march through the gates of my people in the day of their disaster, nor gloat over them in their calamity, in the day of their disaster, nor seize their wealth in the day of their disaster. You should not wait at the crossroads to cut down their fugitives or hand over their survivors in the day of their trouble. The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head, just as you drank on my holy hill. So all the nations will drink continually. They will drink and be as if they had never been. But on Mount Zion will be deliverance, and it will be holy. And Jacob will possess his inheritance. Jacob will be a fire, and Joseph a flame. Esau will be stubble, and they will set him on fire and destroy him. There will be no survivors from Esau. The Lord has spoken. People from the Negev will occupy the mountains of Esau. The people from the foothills will possess the land of the Philistines. They will occupy the fields of Ephraim and Samaria, and Benjamin will possess Gilead. This company of Israelites, exiles who are in Canaan, will possess the land as far as Zarephath. The exiles from Jerusalem who are in Sepharad will possess the towns of the Negev. Deliverers will go on a Mount Zion to govern the mountains of Esau, and the kingdom will be the Lord's. Okay? So understand this is Obadiah's vision, and most of these things did come to pass. And what I wanted to confirm with you guys was the fact that we are living in cycles. Okay, we live in cycles very frequently, very often. So these things, right, we have to understand where our blood comes from, right? We have to understand where our blood comes from, where our spirit energy lies. And remember when I said we need to start tethering ourselves to our highest selves, to our higher selves, and really get to know who we are as higher beings, right? There were moments last night where I really did have to put my foot down, and I did have to set a lot of records straight, just because the misinformation has been so rampant. The enemy is actually very much working in many different ways that I had not fully been able to understand until now. So it is more clear to me now what we need to do in order to uproot and to defeat the enemy, and to make sure that that enemy has never crossed the lines that it has been forbidden to cross ever again. So it's very clear what needs to be done. Quite personally, what I need you all to do, if you can please do me a favor, please continue in your fasting. If you haven't been hungry, it's okay. Don't fear that you will not be left without, right? If you have not started fasting, perhaps now is a time to start. But again, if you feel hungry, please do not, if you feel hungry, excuse me, do not be afraid to go ahead and eat if you do. But I would please continue your fasting, please continue your prayers. With this as well, instead of focusing on the evil and the negativity and the drama and the gossip and everything else that could cause disruption in our hearts, right? Even if it is me, even if it is me who is truly bothering you and truly, causing a disturbance, right? What I want you to do then instead is to focus on the kingdom, right? The kingdom of the Lord, and what you would like the kingdom of the Lord to look like. And I really need you guys as a collective to really focus on this together. Maybe you already exist in your heaven on earth. Maybe it is already perfect and exactly how you would like it. And just build upon that, emphasize upon that, and make sure you give gratitude and give grace and give back to those who maybe need a little bit of help building their kingdom as well. So in order for me, I am currently working on this as well. I thought I had many things figured out, and I think I built already a lot of solid foundations, and I have been spending a lot of time devoting and giving back, and the foundations are very, 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 very strong, very, very strong. So I'm looking forward to be able to build upon those foundations, but I do need a little bit of help. So if you guys could please start to visualize what your kingdom on earth looks like. What does it look like in terms of social constructs, right? How does it look in terms of social constructs, right? How do the people behave? How do they treat each other? What do you prefer in terms of acts of kindness, right? Random acts of kindness. What is your sexual nature, right? What is your sexuality like? Are you more on the asexual preferences, or do you thrive in romantic connection? So I really need you to start visualizing what you want your relationships to look like with people. I want you to realize, what does it take for you to be kind to somebody, and how does it make you feel when somebody is kind to you? And what does that look like? How does that make you feel? Of course, we have our mood boards, and we have our visions of our mansions and our land and our plots, and the food that we're going to grow, and the amazing things that we'll have access to all over our fingertips. But beyond the physical structures, because the physical structures are easy, right? We all have an idea of what is an ideal physical structure. I want us to think about our mental capabilities and think about what would be helpful for you guys at this time. What kind of enhancements to your human form would you appreciate? What kind of goodness, what kind of skills would allow your goodness to overflow? And your goodness to overflow from the tops of your heads to the bottom of your souls, only to be recycled through you again and be expounded upon, and have that goodness well supplied within you for you to be able to share and to heal others, right? What kind of abilities do you want to improve in, whether that's healing people, whether that's speaking, whether that's writing, whatever you think you would like to do to serve the community. I need you to think about your intrinsic powers, and I need you to just ask for what you would like. If anybody can just, if anybody, right, anybody and everybody can just please, ask for what they would want in their heart, and what is really ideal for you. What does the kingdom of the Lord look like for you? I would really appreciate all of the feedback that I can get, all of the peace and love. I know there's a lot of conscious homesteading communities who really are trying to do this in real time. Just the times are making it a little bit tough, right? Because everybody has their own route, everybody has their own goal, and that's okay. So please, continue to do this, continue to seek, continue to ask, and you will receive. So I really do appreciate your guys' feedback. So that's all I have. And like, I apologize, you guys. I really have been so weak. I have been so weak. And I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for being weak. Um, on that same note, I have carried a lot. I have carried a lot, and I didn't realize how much that I was carrying. And I think that's part of what made me so upset and so anxious and feeling hopeless, because I didn't realize how much I was carrying. And once I was able to see how much that I was carrying, I felt defeated. I felt like, oh, there's no way. I said, there's no way that I can continue and carry this load, right? And so I apologize for maybe putting it down for just a moment, and and feeling like, I could give up if I wanted, because I can, but I won't. And that is not in my will to go ahead and do that. Um, but we do have to be cautious, and we do have to be very, very on our P's and Q's, really to make sure that this word is understood. Really to make sure that this word is understood. That the day of the Lord is near for all nations. And I hope that you guys were able to maybe sense a little bit of that energy, and actually even be able to experience some of the feedback that we have been getting already about, what does this look like, right? What is this new world, this new earth look like? um, what does it look like on your feeds, on your social media, things like that. I think you've been maybe seeing like a little bit of a taste of some kind of shift, right, that's happening. But we are nowhere near completion. So I just wanted to let you guys know that it's all okay and we're going to get through this together. And just please be cautious, right, of how we're treating one another. And I'm really talking to myself here because I was very harsh with more than one person this past weekend. I really had to let out the beast, if you will. I had to let out the dragon, and I had to really set a few things straight, and I had to um, really take control and responsibility of the situation because things had just gotten too far out of hand and too far in disgrace. Um, I now know what I mean, right? I am fully confident and wholeheartedly set on making sure that you guys have a relationship with the Lord and making sure you know his face. Okay, because he is the one, right? He has the power of life and death. So I would really like you to understand how to build that relationship with the Lord. Please seek him. Something that has been granted to me, and I will just come right out and say it, right, is the authority of heaven and earth. Like, I do have immense authority, but something that I will never be willing to let go and to give up is God's grace. Okay, I would not be here if it wasn't for God's grace, right? I am but his breath, but I am a piece of him that has grown and has flourished to be so far above in strength and in might, that I have been given access, and I have been given granted access with the authority of both heaven and earth. So you can come to me, of course, with questions, with concerns. If you have your grievances, please, you can tell me. But I prefer if you would actually go through right to the source and right to God and go to him directly. So I really would like to really make sure that you guys are establishing that relationship with God himself instead of his conduit, right, which is me. If you need to, of course, you can use me as a vessel and go through me to go to him. I do understand that that is oftentimes how that works. But if you can, to the best of your abilities, please seek his face and please go to him and please talk to him with sincerity. Again, the most easiest way to do so is when you're laying in bed at night. Turn your TV off, right? Lay in silence and lay on the right side of your shoulder, okay? And just face the right side. You can talk to the wall. You can talk to if your partner happens to be there, right? But no, it's actually helpful just laying on your right side of yourself and just begin speaking to him like you would, your friend, your father, your partner, right? Your teammate. He's not a partner, but no, he's your teammate, right? Speak to him like you would. He really is the most merciful and most gracious, right? I was humbled completely, how much I have gone through as a soul, right, as a spirit, um, having my scroll read and seeing the deeds and experiencing the deeds. I was just like, wow, this is a very humbling moment, right? Someone as superior as I thought I was, right? So it was very humbling, and I would like you to just please seek his face. That is my most important message for you. Seek his face, speak to him, tell him everything that you could want and you can need. And I will be here, right, to help out in assistance as a servant, right? That's really all I am. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to be here for you. The weight has been heavy, extremely heavy, and I'm getting a little bit exhausted and a little bit tired, but I think with strength we can push through this together. Um, God bless you guys. I'm sorry for such a traumatic reading, but as you know, these have been, nothing but traumatic. We're almost done with the Old Testament. Maybe we're going to go into our favorite New Testament. Maybe. I did speak to him about this last night. He said you can maybe just read the old. That's how fast we are moving in this journey together. Um, but we shall see, right? We shall see how we feel and how we move along in this place. Um, yeah, seek no one but the Lord. You know who I am. You know that I'm here. So you know what it is. I'm really just an open book. I am who I am. Many of you know my story. Many of you do not, and that's okay. I almost prefer if you don't. But I've been through a lot. You know, I've been through a lot of different things and at different times. Um, so it's a little bit of a hassle to have all of that try to be broadcasted and try to be like expelled and to paint this picture of me as someone who I'm really not. I'm just there in servant form, right? So you know who I am, and God is really present with us all the time, and He is waiting to be called upon. He's always just waiting, and He's watching because, like, at this point, if anything, like people were able to recognize me this weekend when I went out among the masses, among the crowds. But people were not able to fully recognize God. They did not have His heart like I thought that maybe these people would, but they did not. They really did not understand to a full extent of who God is in their lives. And I tried to show them. And there was one moment I was proud of myself. I did show a good group of people who He is. And it's just so clear. You know, He's here on earth, He's walking among us. He is able to transmute Himself into different forms, but His face always remains the same. And I saw multiple times his face this weekend. He's out and about, he's serving, he's here. He may even be where you are as well. He's out. So just please seek his face and he will come to you. Ask him, you know, to come meet you. He might actually even come to meet you if you're really in need of that type of help. He's always here for you, just again, to really protect you, to really take care of you, and to give you whatever you ask and whatever you need within good guidance. But just keeping in mind that whatever you ask and whatever you need for, He is the most that He will be able to provide, right? But just keep in mind everything is recorded, it's documented. You know, everything will be taken into consideration and into reckoning when that time comes. So live humbly, right? Live sustainably, live minimally. We can't be thinking too much about this material world. We really do have to focus on what we're trying to build and what kind of relationships we want to build for each other. Right now, we really are just trampling on one another and stepping on one another in order to have enough money to build, right? And because we need the money to build, but no, it actually starts with making sure that one another are properly taken care of, everybody feels love, and then the grace and the abundance will come for us to build, and that will come after we actually start treating each other with respect, with kindness, with love, with mercy, and with grace. Wisdom has also been watching, and she's very disappointed. She's very, very disappointed in how everybody has been treated, and she actually came to me to go ahead and um, reckon the situation. Excuse me. She came to me to try and set the situation because we have a lot of entities here that are trying to disrupt the natural order of things. So I had to do a lot of rebuking last night. So I apologize, you know, for any discomfort that anyone might have been feeling. So um, yes, but it's an energy, right? It's an energy that we're trying to gain control over, and we're trying to kind of dismantle, so we can really take go full fledged ahead and start building our kingdom the way. But we are in battle, but we have to really be nice to each other. That's really the main issue. Just please be nice to each other. Do onto each other as you would like to be treated, right? Treat each other as you would want to be treated. I think that is the most important rule. It's the gold rule. So yeah, let's start building our gold, right? Let's start building that up. So God bless you guys. No fear, right? No fear. We're just going to keep improving and keep being better. We are safe, we are sound. And I know I seem like I'm operating in two different worlds right now, but I'm not. I'm right here, and I'm present with you guys today. And I just talk for much longer than I thought. That it's 40 minutes. I will go ahead and say goodnight. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. Bye. Or fantastic morning. Goodness gracious. See, this is part of the issue. Okay. So trying to like channel, and it's just, yes. So I do appreciate you. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.